in order to come out and be successful. Not just one plan. You got to have 3, 4, 5 plans in order, because you know Murphy Law. Murphy Law will kick in. If something can go wrong, it will. And a lot of times, just that one little tweak can send somebody in the wrong direction. So we try to address the concerns before they even get to the street, you know. And we do this for the women also. We go, Barbara and a couple of other female staff, they go up to work and they go to Chichita and they start working with those women. Same thing. 6 months to a year prior to their release, so that we can try to help provide services for them. Once we get, after that first presentation, when we go back the second time that month, which is the 3rd Friday, we take resource packages of information to all the people that was at that first meeting. We take a resource package in for their particular county. You know, they may be from Rock County, they may be from wherever, up north here somewhere. And whatever that county resources are, we try to provide a package of information for that individual. Now, the people that we primarily deal with are the people from Dane County. Okay, those are our primary focus. But the people that come to the first presentation, regardless of where they come from, we try to provide them a package of information for that particular county, so that when they get back, it can help them navigate the system. They can start making plans before they get out. You know, if they don't have any resources in that particular county, well, the neighboring counties. You know, what can I do? Who can I go to help me work to write up a resume? Or who can I go to for support of mental counseling or whatever? You know, so you try to help them, at least give them the information. Now, the people from Dane County, on our second visit, when we go in, we'll interview them, and we're talking about maybe 15, 20-minute interview. And the institution has a policy where it has to be 2 people interviewing at any time, you know. So if we got a whole bunch of people, we'll take our two staff or 4 people, so that we can have two rooms going. And what we'll do, we'll sit down with that individual, and we go through its resident, employment, support, treatment, and we added transportation and education. So those are areas that we look at when we interviewing them. The first thing we ask them on the resident piece, where you living at? Oh, I'm living with I think I'm gonna live with my girlfriend. I'm thinking I'm gonna live with a family member. Well, you know, then you get into asking them, okay, you're gonna live with your girlfriend. You know, is she aware of this? You know, well, I mean, it happens. It happens, you know, because you know she's been my girlfriend for 3 or 4 years, and you know, you've been locked up in prison for 3 or 4 years. Well, are you sure this is a good place for you to go? Well, yeah. Well, you know, you may want to look into that. You may want to have a backup plan, because if you're going out into a situation where you've been locked up for 4 years and she's there for 4 years, and I call him Bob. Okay. The milkman or the mailman or whatever, you know. I said, now, you know, Bob could have been there, you know, and you might be going into a situation where it's going to cause you to, you know, get reoffend, because you go into a situation and there's somebody there and you find out that she's been doing whatever it is that she's doing those 4 years. Because, you know, when you get locked up, you know, a lot of people go in there with that unrealistic picture of, you're going to be locked up with me. That doesn't happen. You know, and to be realistic about it, you know, when you go to prison, you got 2 things going against you so far as a relationship. You got Mother Nature and you got Father Time. One of the 2 gonna get you. You know, one of the 2 gonna get you. You know, so you don't, you're unrealistic to feel that somebody is going to just, a wife I can see, girlfriend, may not. If it is, great. But you try to talk them through. Is this realistic? Is there somebody else that you can, is there a family member you might be able to live with, or do you have money? A lot of them are on work release, so they have money. They have, hate to say it, $12,000–$13,000 saved up. Because that's all they're on work release and they're saving their money. So if they got the money, okay, well maybe you might think about getting a place of your own, just to get back into the system and then try to work it out. So we try to rationalize situations and throw different scenarios out to them so that, that housing situation. In Madison, one of our biggest problems is homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When you get out of prison, you go to your agent office, and if you don't have anywhere to go, and they don't have a TLP, a temporary living placement for you, they take you down to the shelter, and they drop you off downtown at the shelter and say, don't get in any trouble. Now, you're a prideful person, very prideful person, and I really don't know how I would be able to survive in a homeless shelter. I did community service at them. I did all that, but to be there and to actually go through that and coming out of prison and trying to come back into society, that's going to set up. I can do something better than this. I don't have to. A lot of people are homeless by choice. Okay, they choose to not to wait and whatever. But you coming out of the institution and you focus on trying to be successful, stay out of prison, and they put you in this shelter with all these homeless people. Now you homeless too. The likelihood of you reoffending is great. Because I don't have to do this. And we've had people come in the office and say, I would rather be in prison than to be in the situation out in the street where I'm in now. And now at the time they'll end up doing something that will just actually get them back into the institution. And then it gets down to the employment piece. There's a lot of jobs. People say that there's not jobs. There's jobs out there, but there's a fence put up in front of these offenders, and especially if there's a sex offender. We're getting a lot of sex offenders out. I mean, a lot. Not just a few, a lot. And they're coming out. And then you get your high profile ones, they throw the picture on TV and they do a public notification, and now, we had a young man just recently who he committed a sexual offense when he was 12 years old. He's 31 years old now. He's been locked up since he was 12 years old. He wasn't under corrections. He was under the 980, where they sent him to a hospital instead of corrections. So the doctor said, you ready to go? So they said, okay, go. He's never fixed a meal. No type of independent living skills at all. First time he went into a supermarket, he ran out with so many people. He was scared. All of a sudden they turned him loose. Go. He tried to get in school. We started working with him to help teach the independent living skills, so that at least he could get away from the microwave pieces and whatever it is you put in the microwaves. But that's what he was doing. He was just microwaving it. He didn't know how to fry eggs. He didn't know how to do anything. He had never had a relationship with a young lady. He never kissed a lady. So now they throwing him back, and he left away. So he came out. He was a nice looking young man, and women would look at him, and but he didn't know how to handle that, So we had to it was hard for us to get a circle, and I'll talk about a circle in a minute. It was hard for us to get a circle put around him because of his high profile. What we had to do, we had to take a staff circle, myself, Barbara, Josh, and we had to actually, as a staff, put him in a circle, okay? And we had to work with him. He gets out, you turn him loose, he's free. You know, he never ridden a bus. I had to get on the bus with him. You know, I had to show him, well, how did you get the bus to stop? Well, you know, you pull the string or you push this button and you know, it lets the driver know the next stop is yours. You watch a few people. That's what I use condom. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we you know, you know, but you know, and we had, well, where you put your money at? He knew nothing. He was 12 years old, coming out. So he found, you know, a month passed by, he's out, and he thought he was prepared for being out in the community. Where he was living at, somebody said, hey, well, you know, you living here? And the officer came out and checked, and they said, yeah. And they said, oh, he living here? So the lady pulled up, one of the neighbors pulled up his picture, and she started passing it around the community. Next thing, you know, Channel 27 had it. It was on the news. The next day, 15 had it, 3 had it. And his picture was all over the place. You know, he couldn't go nowhere. He's living here, you know, but he won't be living here, but he's going to be moving down on this street, you know. What he had to do, he had to leave the state in order to get some relief from the situation. Now, this is something that he did when he was 12 years old. The prison raised him. All he know his whole life is the institution. You know, so we had to try to do one of those quick, hey, this is what you need to do. And as he was saying, I mean, he didn't know about a condom. What's this gooey stuff in there, you know? Well, it's lubricants. Oh, okay. But, you know, that's sad when you throw somebody out in the community like that, because he's lost. You know, he's like a wounded animal in the forest. You know? And the likelihood of him being successful is, hopefully, you know, realistically is low. Hopefully he'll get with some right people in the state that he left, that he's in now, and try to be successful. But it's hard for people like that. Were they concerned about him? No. They was more concerned about public safety than they were about, let's try to get this young man into a job. Let's try to get him into a place where he can start being productive. Watch him. You ain't got to, I mean, watch him. You know where he's at. He's registered. You know, you got little dots. You know where his sex offenders at. If you look at, you go on the computer, you look at, you know, you see all these little dots. That's where sex offenders are at in Madison. But you know where he's at. Work with this individual and try to help him get back. Sexual assault is a horrific crime against women, period. You know, I have a wife and 2 beautiful daughters. You know, so I'm sensitive that way. But when these people coming back, they're coming back to the community. Now, how the community deal with them? Well, I don't want them next door to me. You know, Sue got a little kid. I mean, hey, it's sad the way it's happening, but it's a reality. Okay, but that's just one example of, and the sex offenders out there. They have a whole department just for sex offenders, and they can't get jobs. They can't get housing. You know, no employment. They can't go around parks. They can't go to the library. They can't go on the street where there's a daycare. You know, I'm all for public safety. I am. You know, but there comes a point where if these people are coming back, and they are coming back. You know, I don't care how, you know, you're gonna fight it. But they're coming back at some point. So why not have something in place that when they come back, okay, Bob, we know you messed up, but we're gonna put you over here,
Right.
and we're gonna help you get this job. You know, we're gonna help you get back into society, but we're gonna watch you. You know, watch it, but don't you know, put a wall up to prevent them from doing that.
Do you mind if I interject just
Sure.
1 second? One of the reasons we invited these gentlemen out here is because a few months ago we had an issue with a pretty high-profile case, and it was we couldn't find any resources in the community, and Sheriff Olson, as you know, it was very difficult to do anything, basically, because with a small community like ours, word just went crazy, you know, and it made it very, very difficult. And actually, John, after many days on the phone, even after talking to Sandridge Sheriff's Department, probation and parole, I mean, we searched everywhere we could just to find some resources to help us out. John found these gentlemen's group, and so that's how we got connected. So what you're saying is so very true, so very true. And as a former sexual assault victim, I can tell you, personally, I'd rather have the resources for somebody coming out than not, because they are more likely to reoffend if they're left without. So, just so everybody has a bit of background.
There has to be an out and out for everybody returning from prison. There's something that we say at Moms: today's prisoner is tomorrow's neighbor. And the person that's in prison, and a guy once asked the question at my desk, why do you do this? Why do you do this work? I said, because the guy who's an armed robber, I'd rather see an armed robber get out of prison and get a job than to get out of prison and be discriminated against and not work and hit me in the head in the parking lot for the little bit that I got, thinking I got more than I actually do, right? I'd rather work to see this man or woman get a job and get a gainful employment and get a home and continue to grow and to be a functioning participant in this society, to actually have an opportunity to move forward and advance, you know, and move up. Because the way that things are done now, not just with the sex offenders, but with felons in general, the environment cannot be punitive perpetually. The punitive element has to end. A lot of in the jail system, inside the county jails and the jail system, it has to be a punitive environment, because you're just being held until sentencing. But when you go to the next level, to the Department of Corrections level, the environment has to be an environment that cultivates rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is not something that the DOC needs to do to people that go into prison. The DOC needs to create an environment where rehabilitation can take place and the individuals themselves rehabilitate within that environment. But what happens is the punitive environment that exists in the jail, that should exist in the jails, is being transferred to the prison system. And we have the staff, from the social service staff to the prison guards, etc., have a punitive mentality, or we're punishing you type mentality, as opposed to that we're trying to create an environment where you can build yourself back up, so when you get out, you won't be that armed robber or that rapist or that whatever you were coming in, you won't be that coming out, because this environment exists. If you don't take advantage of it, that's your fault. And when you come back, you get a shot at it again. Hey, however long the judge, you know, deems you to be here. But at the same time, that environment has to exist. Now, what happens is people come into this environment strictly punitive, us against them mentality. You know what I mean? I know you get a lot of that in the jail. It's always us against them in jail. Oh, the guard did this, and the guard did that, and the guard did. There's always a complaint, because the guard did it. Well, he's not creating any environment for you. He's just watching you until you get sentenced, and then you go to where this is supposed to take place. That environment is supposed to be. But since it's not there, you get this group of very frustrated, very angry men and women returning to the community that don't have any access to resources. So it should be expected. It's not, to me, it's not surprising that recidivism in Wisconsin is the way, at the numbers that I was in prison. I spent 7 years in the Wisconsin prison system. So, and 4 of those years I did in a prison out of state, in Oklahoma and Tennessee. So I recognize what's going on inside the system, as well as what's going on outside the system. And I can see why recidivism is so high. It's not surprising to me, because the environment inside of the prisons is strictly punitive, and is strictly the result that's being created should be expected. I mean, when you have a system where, and these are questions that we should ask to legislators and DOC personnel, high-level DOC personnel, things like opportunities to go to school, not cabinet making. I don't know a single cabinet maker. I've never met a cabinet maker in my life. Yeah, in prisons they have that as a program, cabinet maker. I've never seen anybody make a living or buy a home making birdhouses, you know, or a basic computer class that just teaches you how to type, and you get the certificate when you get out. It's almost useless. People learn how to type in their homes. A Mavis Beacon CD, you can stick it in your home computer or your laptop and learn how to type. That's how I learned. You know, so the classes are that's not actually the education that's necessary. What's necessary is education along the lines of like community college education, MATC, Madison Area Technical College, or Milwaukee Area Technical College, University of Wisconsin. We got one of in the top 10 research universities in the country. It's right here in Wisconsin, and we could utilize that university system. But what happens is in the Department of Corrections, prisoners are not allowed to take college courses unless they can pay for them outright. I can't pay for a college course outright. Working people can. So I know a prisoner can. There's no more Pell Grants in Wisconsin for prisoners, so you can't get an education while you're in prison. And